welcome. Welcome, Win Win Nation. Welcome, you winners. Here we are again, a wonderful Sunday afternoon, and we just want to give God thanks, glory, honor, and praise that we're here with you here on the Win Win Life show. And we have a wonderful guest of ours today, in the person of Miss Marelise. Just before we bring up Marelise, I want to go ahead and share with you just a tad bit on who Marelise is. Please hold on. So, over 20 years ago, I stepped into the truth that transformed my life. This is the miracle of life. Truth, the fact that true purpose and destiny often come in the most unexpected ways. That's so true. I was focused on climbing the corporate ladder and as a copywriting and marketing expert. But God, can anybody say they had a but God experience or several but God experiences? I can. Had better plans. I married into an instant family in 2003, and immediately I inherited 3 bonus kids. That is the easiest way to embark on marriage. So, after numerous medical emergencies, a miraculous birth, cancer, and a divorce, I found myself trying to pick up millions of little shattered pieces in 2011. Only because of God and the incredible vision He gave me was I able to build a new victorious life for the sake of my children. It is required. It required some therapy, many courses, and numerous new skills and qualifications. But I am finally able to provide a service that helps parents embrace the future with confidence and clarity, God's way. As a parent-kid connection coach, I provide effective guidance and support to parents through personalized, Christ-centered strategies and key learnings. Not only are my clients able to overcome what has kept them back for years, they are creating deeper connection with their children in ways they never imagined possible. They are learning to properly partner with God to uncover their true identity, their children's God-given identity and gifts, and to navigate these uncertain times effectively, which results in deeper understanding, greater support, and measurable victories as a family. I am also an online mentor to focus on the family, and I'm currently busy with a course in brain profiling to study the finer nuances at play in the way we communicate. Folks, help me welcome here on the Win Win Live show today and on our current series, Meet the Creator of Mega Mom, Marelise Culbert. Did I get that right, Marelise?
Oh, thank you, Michelle. That was beautiful. Thank you. You're brilliant. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. It is such a privilege and an honor to be here with you today, Marlies, and thank you so much for saying yes. As
Thank you
I
for inviting.
You're most welcome. As I thought of inviting you here, I'll just like for you to, before we dive on in, I'd like for you to share exactly the creation that God has caused you to birth through your womb as to this service offering that you are offering that you have to serve the people to whom you're called. Tell us a little bit about Mega Mom.
Okay, so that's very interesting, and I can actually take you back quite a few years,
Mhm.
which I won't. There's not enough time. But I think so much of our purpose and so many of the values that we end up living our lives by is actually created from lack. If you go back to your childhood years, you'll find that the things that you really insist on now, the values that you have created for your life now,
Yes.
was probably birthed out of a place of lack. And that's what I realized is I have to tell you I was set on being a career girl. I didn't have to do this whole family mother thing really. It wasn't my I wasn't birthed with that deep desire. But
Wow.
then I did become a parent, and I was forced to take bad experiences in my childhood
Mhm.
and see how can I turn it on its head so that I can help other people not have to go through that.
Mm.
And as I said, I made all these wonderful plans for a career, but then God, just every time I stepped into a new thing, God revealed a little piece of the puzzle to me. And I realized many years ago that that little plan that I had is not the plan that he had. So I'm best I put all my ideas aside and
Yeah.
actually start responding to the call. I think any person who has done that knows that's probably the best way to go. And the thing
Yeah.
is, um, what he really birthed inside of me is just this incredible, incredible desire to help people with the parent-child connection because I don't believe there is a greater calling on this earth. Um, it's every person with the gifts and talents they've been given. It's fantastic, and it can change life for the better for everybody.
Mhm.
But what I realized is the moment you become a parent, for everyone who wanted to become a parent, there's this deep desire to develop this bond with your child
Mhm.
that is so deeply entrenched in their being that it will defy all logic. And I can help them develop it in such a way that they will be able to weather every storm, that they will be able to cover every experience with love and grace. And in that way, we can conquer life together.
Mhm.
And I think that's the best gift you can give to a child as well, is a parent who truly, truly understands them and wants that close bond with them so that they don't have to feel alone. They don't have to feel like they're lacking in any area. And where they are strengths, they know there's someone constantly supporting them and pushing them forward. And for me, that was a very deep need that I identified in myself as a
Mhm.
child and
Yes.
that I saw in the children that I instantly got,
Mm.
which
Yes.
is not something I think most people can ever be prepared for.
Yes.
And then, of course, in having your own children as well, because as that little body is formed in your womb,
Mhm.
the exchanges already in the mother's womb is
Yes.
so detailed.
Yes.
And there's this underlying understanding between the two of you, and that is it's the most amazing creation.
Yes.
So we need to find ways in which we can build on that.
Mm.
You know,
Yes.
the more independent the child becomes, the older they become, the more they learn to handle life themselves. That's not to distance them from you.
Yes.
That is to make both of you stronger together because as
Mhm.
much as they learn, I was learning.
Yes.
Um, and to be able to do that together, that's the ultimate prize for me. So,
Awesome.
uh,
Awesome. Awesome. Before I ask you about the name, I just like to just hit on two things that stood out as Marley's shared just now. One of the things that Marley shared was she took her bad experiences as a child and she spinned it on its head and decided to create something out of that. My question to you this afternoon is, What bad experiences have you experienced, whether as a child or even now in recent years or even going through right now? And what can you create with that to serve
Mm,
others, to serve yourself as you come out victoriously out of that place, finally clipping all the ties that it had you bound with, and then serve others? That was one of the rich message that Marley shared as she spoke just now. And also she mentioned about, like, initially she didn't plan for any childhood stories. Like, I am just focused
mm,
on corporate, building my
mhm,
career and just getting ahead. But then the great thing that I love that spoke to me, and I'm hoping that it's speaking to you as well, is she was pliable in God's hands. And so, in as much as she had her rigid plan, like this is it,
mm,
she was open and flexible for God to bring in his plan and his intentions and his desires. And
mm,
I'm wondering, where do you need some flexibility in your life today? I hope that as we continue to talk and share, that you will begin to identify those bad experiences, those hurts, and where you need some flexibility to get on the road to creating that thing or those
mm.
things, whether it be services or products, to serve the people to whom you're called. Stay tuned. We're going to be right back after this message. Now, in case you haven't got picked up your copy as yet of the I Am Loved and the Firm Gratitude Journal, Christmas is coming right up. Treat yourself to one and be sure to treat somebody else to one. It will bless your socks off. I can attest to that fact. So, Marlies, as a kid connection coach, like what I'd love to for you to share with the persons who are tuning in today is, why do you do, like, what is the core reason of why you do what you do?
mm. Okay. Can I just comment quickly on the two things that you highlighted, because these are two very important things that God is very specific about in the word. I think it's Proverbs 16 that says, "Many are the plans in a man's heart, but it's the Lord who establishes his ways." And
Yes.
that really spoke to me, because when God called me to this, although it wasn't part of my original plan, because I didn't
Mm.
even know that I could do this, is
Yes.
he when you go read the Bible, like Moses the stutterer was the one called to free the to lead the people out of Egypt. It's often your your biggest test or your biggest challenge, or that thing
Mm.
that in your head you think makes you least qualified,
Yes.
that God uses to put you in a place where you can have the most impact. And
Mm.
I think it's so wonderful, because for me, it tells you that, first of all, no one's ever going to look at me and think, oh, wow, look at what she's doing. They're going to think, anybody who knew me from my childhood is going to think, my word, God can really use anybody. It's not like, and that's wonderful, because that's for
Yes.
His glory. And that's exactly why
Yes.
we do what we do,
Yes.
because everyone, so my main priority is for them to experience God,
Yes.
because
Mm.
any at any time, if you can bring someone to God to
Yes.
actually see what God has planned for them,
Yes.
their lives will be changed forever. But
Yes.
the wonderful thing about what I've what I am able to do now and what I'm able to offer, and that was the thing that I lacked. I definitely became that teenager
Mm.
that you don't want near your friends,
Mm.
because I didn't have a great relationship with my mom.
Mhm.
She wasn't able to understand what I needed,
Mhm.
who I was, and why I was doing it.
Mm.
And then that is breeding ground for rebellion. And
Ah.
that is the
Mhm.
last thing that we want to see in our kids.
Mhm.
So, because I know why that happened, and praise God, I was able to come out of that, but that's also just Him. Because I know that, I know exactly where to look. What
Ah.
is it that is lacking that ends up becoming this vicious spiral
Yes.
for the child and for the mother?
Yes.
Because it took me, I don't know, 20 years to restore my relationship properly with my mother. And it's just so sad because that was all unnecessary. But
Yes.
back then, and I'm not going to allude to my age, but let's be honest, back then, nobody knew what we know now.
True.
So it wasn't even her fault.
Mhm.
There were rules and everyone had to abide by the rules, and that's just how it is.
Mhm.
And I come from a conservative background, so they were very strict, but there were good values and morals, but it wasn't conducive to raising a child for who that person was created to be. It
Yes.
worked well for my sister, but my sister and I are very different.
Yes.
So it didn't work for me. So the wonderful thing is about what we do is every child is going to be raised differently. Every child in your household, because I had four and
Mhm.
they were very different,
Yes.
very different.
Yes.
And you've got to learn as a parent that who this child is, who does God say they are?
Mm.
What does that mean to you?
Yes.
So if God's telling me this one's a Daniel, that one's a Joseph,
Mhm.
that one's a Ruth,
Mhm.
there's no ways I can raise them all the
Oh,
same way.
same.
There's
No.
no way I can hold them to the same standard. There's no way I
No.
can look at this and say, "Well, I don't care who you are, you doing this because I say so." No ways. But
Yes.
that is how we were raised.
Yes.
Now we know better. And
Yeah.
I did a course, so I did numerous courses, but the one that I did that really, um, it was that light bulb moment is, and she calls it Parenting with the Holy Spirit, is by Bridget Van Zyl, and she is in Graham Cook's church. And
Mhm.
it was so wonderful because that means when your child, and I was fortunate because God orchestrated this whole thing.
Mhm.
He told me exactly who my son was going to be before I even saw him.
Wow.
And thank goodness for that because he had the first few years of his life were difficult, very, very difficult.
Yes.
But I knew God said, but he's a Daniel. Now, in order to be a Daniel,
Mhm.
you've got to learn things that most other kids don't have to know because your life is going to be marked by discipline, by determination,
Yes.
by by hearing differently
Yes.
and acting accordingly.
Yes.
So I knew that through all the hardships that he had to go, God was really training him to become someone
Mm.
that can go and impact a nation.
Mm. Ah.
But that's not within me as the mother. I can just try and steward that, and I can try and be the support that he needs through
Yes.
that.
Yes. Yes. Mm.
But I could never create that.
Mm.
So what we are doing is not putting extra burden on the parent.
Mhm.
It's actually making life easier for you because you understand the spirit that's in that child.
Yes. Yes.
So you know that when that child comes home and they've just had the most awful day because
Mhm.
this and this and this happened, you can say, "Oh, I know why that happened, and I know how you can fix it."
Wow.
You
Wow.
see, so it,
Yes.
it just changes the focus,
Mhm. Mhm.
and that actually makes it easier for everybody.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Mm,
As you share, I could hear that it actually makes it easier. But
mm,
you mentioned there that you would have a Daniel and then a David and then a
mm,
Ruth, and
mm,
there's no way
mm,
you could raise all three the same and hold all three to the same standards.
mm,
As you share that, I thought to myself, so it's kind of like you have to tap into a God code that each of
mm,
them come with so that
mm,
you could nurture them and land them. You know, the scriptures talk about shooting the children, the arrow in the direction that
yes,
they are to go, so that you can
yeah,
accurately shoot that arrow with the Daniel, with the David, with the Ruth,
mm, mm,
for them to land up
mm,
exactly where God would align them to. Wow. Wow, that is powerful. And then one of the things you shared just now too, which caused me to think, is there is no way that you could hold all of them to the same standards. Immediately I thought about my three because I'm like Michael, Abigail, and Faith Marie. And when I give instructions, I like want all of you to do it the same. But then some of
mm,
them they would hit out like, but you know, you're not so hard on Faith Marie, or you're not so hard on,
mm,
as you shared that, that light bulb went off like,
mm,
okay, okay, they're absolutely different. So there's no way that we should, even though that's how we were grown up, hold all of them to the same standards. Now, as Marlise would have shared, I want you to guys to hear firsthand from one of her clients what is the value of what Marlise delivers when you partner with Mega Mom Coaching. And that same value awaits you today. If you are in a spot, it's so tight, it's so tense. Sometimes it can become so tense in the house because it's like everybody's talking, 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 but
mm,
it's not hitting home.
mm,
Marlise, Marlise Culbert, that kid connection, mom kid connection coach can definitely help you as she would have created through God's help the Mega Mom coaching business just to serve you. Marlies, as you would have been on this journey, can you share some of your experiences that you see where God, through your experience, is would have tapped in? And I'd love for you to. We have about three more testimonies that we're going to share. But firsthand, as you're here, like the transformation that you see with this parent as they come in
mm,
and as you
mm.
sit down and dialogue and coach them, and then as they are stepping out, say, okay, Marlies, all right, I think I got this now. I think I can do this. Can you share with me like that transformation and what is the impact it has on you,
Mm.
as you see?
Yes, gosh, there are quite a few that really stood out for me. The one was actually, and I want to mention this one because it's called Mega Mom because that is when I started that. Because Mega actually means mastering effective growth acceleration. So I try and help you just, you know,
Yes.
jump through the different stages a little bit faster because in that way you can avoid many pitfalls
Mhm,
and you can progress you can build that kind of relationship that you truly want
mhm.
faster just because you understand what you need to be looking for.
Yes.
Now, what happened is, despite that, because it's open to all parents, but we know, and I want to say this in the kindest possible way, fathers are not always as open to guidance as mothers because and I understand that the man of the house has to call the shots and it's all those wonderful things
Mm.
that make us Mars and Venus, but this dad came to me, an exceptionally brilliant man, and but he was desperate to have a better relationship with his children, and
Wow.
they were one preteen, two teens. So by this stage now things have progressed quite a bit, and he just there was a severe disconnect, and I was so grateful, first of all, that he was open to
Yeah.
explore this because that is unusual. And already I just commended him for doing that.
Yes.
But the wonderful thing is, what actually came out is the disconnect that he experienced with them was actually something inside himself. So, because the reason why he was reacting to certain things in a certain way,
Mm-hmm.
I realized that it actually had nothing to do with the child. It actually had to do with him. So
Wow.
it pointed things back in his childhood that he couldn't cross over that stumbling block, and that is what prevented him from
Yes.
being able to reach out to his child in a way that would have improved their relationship dramatically.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the beauty about this thing and how unique God made us.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the reasons why we think that we are struggling with certain things are very often not the reasons once you start looking at it just from a different perspective. So the moment he was able to um, determine that and then also realize why, it was easy for him to overcome that thing. So he didn't have that same barrier
Mm-hmm.
up, and it was so much easier for him to reach out. So that's one thing is the reasons aren't always so obvious. And then the other thing, which I think also stood out, is you look at your child from your perspective. In other words, your understanding and your expectations, when in fact you should be looking at them from their understanding and what God's expectation for them is. So you've got to be able to remove your expectation completely. It's like saying, I want you to do this and I want you to do it this way because that's how I would do it. No, you can't do that. You've got to say, okay, I want you to achieve this result because this is actually part of your growth process. So you you have to learn table manners, for example. If you have
Yes.
to learn to be nicer to people, whatever. But then, so how would you do that?
Mm-hmm.
You've got to work with the child to get to that thing. And I know it seems like that's extra work, but it really isn't. The
Mm-hmm.
moment you actually partner with them to
Mm-hmm.
say, okay, this is the outcome we need to achieve. How do you think you can get there? And then work with them. And I'm not talking about asking a 2-year old how to go to get there. I'm talking about a child who is able to
Mm-hmm.
know, but I like to do it this way. Okay, let's see how you can then, with what feels authentic to you, get to that result.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be amazed how much frustration, anger, head bashing you can avoid. And you're still getting to the desired result. It's just that you've moved your expectation.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. 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 That is powerful. As you shared, thank you so much. Thank you so much for
Mhm,
being so in depth as you answered
mhm.
that question. And as you're sharing, I'm like seeing scenarios with myself and my kids.
I know, we all have that. I know. I know.
Yep,
Mm,
yep. Because I'm like, okay, yes. When I say I'd like for you to do this, I'd like for you to do it this way,
mm,
and I'd like for you to do it
mm.
now.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. We are much more time driven than they are. Yes.
Yep, yep. But that was so key. That was a
Mm,
nugget right there, y'all.
mm, mm,
So it's not holding them to how I would do it,
mm,
but just tell them the expected result. Like, this is what I
mm,
want to be accomplished, and get it done. Like,
mm,
but personally, I usually have my own flavor. So with anything,
mm,
if I buy a box cake, I don't do it to the T. I'm gonna add Michelle's brand on it. So I'm gonna experiment and add in something else that is not in the list. That's how I've been. But it's interesting how we can be like that, but then when we come to our children, we like,
mm,
I want for you
mm,
to do it how I want it to be done.
mm, mm. Yesterday already.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
I
is,
know.
yeah, that is such a
Mm.
powerful enlightenment, and it frees you.
It
It
does.
frees us. Thank you for sharing that, Marlies.
And you can really see the result in your child because you're allowing them to bloom.
Yes.
You're not
Yes.
trying to suppress anything that makes them unique.
Yes.
The standards are there, the requirements are there, but
Yes.
you're allowing them to find their way. It's amazing. It makes all the difference.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Yes. Now we're going to take just a quick break and allow you all to
Okay.
just glean just a bit more. We're going to come back to that. What do we say? It's a dad. It's not a mom, though the structure that Marlies has created is called
Mm,
Mega Mom Coaching.
mm, mm.
It's what you just shared with that dad. I wanted to touch on one thing right
Okay.
after this message. Glean again to see what is the buzz that's going
Mm.
around with Marlise's clients. Yes, that can be testimonial that you can deliver as you partner with Marlies to get some help with your relationship with your children that you have been longing for, wanting for, needing for years. Yes. So, with the dad that you just shared on, what you saw when he came in, the light that you were able to shed through
Mm.
how God orchestrated the instructions that you would have led him through. And then when he was on his way out, one of the things that popped out as you shared is how he was going about parenting his children based on something, a wiring within him.
Mm. Mm.
That was
Mm.
powerful. And one of the things that stands out as you share, who you are as the creator of Mega Mom Coaching and how you go about delivering is the importance of parents as they come. And I open it up to say parents, whether it be a mom or whether it be a
Mm.
dad,
Mm.
the importance of
Yes.
us being open. Because as
Mm.
parents, we usually take this authority role.
Mm.
But when they do come and knock on
Mm.
your door and said, I need help, the importance of them being flexible, open to
Mm.
another viewpoint, looking
Mm.
through a different lens, the importance, like with the clients whom you have worked with, how important would you say that is, Marlies?
That, well, the thing is, I think for anyone to talk to me, it's because the desire in their heart
Mm-hmm.
is more
Mm,
pressing than the idea of, um, or the desire is more pressing than what they're currently seeing in their home. So yes,
yes.
I I don't have a standardized program. Everything is personalized. So I'm
Mm,
going to work with you wherever you're at. So if I find that it's depending on how hard it is for you, it's good. We know that we need to be the authority figures in our home, and we need to be the guiding lights, but God says we must love as He loves. So
yes.
He's always the authority. He's always the um, the one who instructs us exactly in the way that we should go. And as
Yeah.
parents, we should be that in our home. But when you cover that in love and grace,
Mm-hmm.
the picture looks completely different. And I think parents who understand that
Mm-hmm.
will benefit from it the most because um, it's like talking to a married couple as well. That relationship's ever only going to be as good as those two people are willing to love each other.
That's true. That's true. That's true. Mm,
And there's such a mandate on us to teach our children how they should love,
yes.
what that means, all the different things that love covers, and how it is expressed literally in the way you move through your house.
Yes.
Um, and I think when we understand that, it's actually not that hard because you realize, wow, especially just a quick thing. It's something that John Bevere once said, and it meant so much to me. Someone came to him and said,
Mm.
"Oh, I'm so mad at this person because you cannot believe what they did." And then he said to them, "It doesn't matter what they did. Forgive everything."
Yes.
And the person said to him, "But John, you don't understand what they did." And he looked at them and said, "You don't understand what Jesus did for you." So by just elevating their understanding in every moment, it actually becomes a lot easier because
Mm.
you must just take the focus off yourself just for 5 minutes, and I
Yes.
promise you the picture is going to look completely different.
Wow. 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 That's a powerful nugget right there. Just take the focus off of yourself for just a minute.
Yeah.
Just a minute.
Mm,
Wow. Mm. As you would have gone through and you would have been sharing with your clients, one of the things that I hear is over and over as you're sharing is the parents and whether it be the mom or whether it be the dad and partnering with them, helping them to bring their relationship with their children
mm,
to that place where it's exactly what they would desire, but then in line with exactly what God's desire
mm,
intentions
mm,
are for them, their relationship with their children and their household. The question begs to ask is what role do the children play in this? Like, do you have a sit down session? Do you ever interact with the children as the parents is walking through this process?
mm. Um, that my heart would be to interact with everybody involved because you always get a different picture when
Mm,
you're actually there.
true.
So what I love to do, because I'm working with people all over the globe. I do like to have a session here and there with their kids
Yes.
just to hear how they experience it. Or even if it's just asking them a few questions and they can write out the answer and send it back to me, knowing that I will never break their trust. I will never break that confidentiality. But as I say, sometimes if you and I are having an argument, we definitely have two different viewpoints.
You do.
So you can only really resolve that thing on a level that is perfect for everybody if you hear both viewpoints.
Ah,
So I do think that's important.
yes.
Sometimes sometimes you get a pretty good picture and you
Yes.
can work according to that. But I
Yes.
do like to speak to the kids as well when I can.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Love that. And I note you said when you can. Yeah.
Mm, mm,
Awesome. Awesome.
mm,
Gonna let you all just glean some more on what the buzz is about Mega Mom coaching with the creator,
mm.
Marelise
Yeah.
Culbert, as you lean into another testimonial from one of her fully satisfied clients. Awesome. Awesome. Marlise, as we are bringing the curtain closely soon to close, I would, as you're sharing, I know you would have shared in dealing with clients one on one, and like it's not a cookie cut shape thing. It
Mm,
is
mm,
tailored to where you're at,
mm,
where you're at, and that is phenomenal. One thought crossed my mind as you were sharing earlier is, do you do like parenting conference? I know that is not something very popular. We have women's conference that's very popular. We have men's conference, popular but not as
mm,
popular as women
mm,
conference. We have prayer, we have many different conferences, business conferences. Haven't heard very much about parenting conferences.
mm,
But
mm.
the thought came to mind, is that something that you do? or would be open to doing?
Mm. I would definitely be open to it. There is a level of confidentiality in the sense that not everyone really wants you to know what's going on behind closed doors. We know that about families.
Yeah.
Some families have really big secrets,
Yes.
and that's fine. So I think, on a more generalized level, you can definitely, and that I can do. I can give them 10 rules to live by that will change. It will transform their family lives for sure,
Yes.
because a lot of it is just things that you might not have considered.
Yes.
Whereas when I work with the parents, so we have weekly sessions, and then after each session, based on what came out there, I do a proper feedback report, and I give them all the additional material they might need to learn how to do that thing, or to understand how that fits into their family life, so that
Okay.
they can practice that in the home. So, for example, if they are struggling with their teenagers,
Mm-hmm.
things that they can definitely do now in their home that
Yes.
will improve that relationship. So,
Awesome.
I that's why everything is personalized. Although I
Yes.
do believe we will be working on conferences in the future, because there
Yes.
are other specialists that I've teamed up with that
Mm.
can we can provide a holistic family
Yes. Yes.
experience, and I
Yes.
think that would
I love that.
be very, very enjoyable for everybody.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, very beneficial
Mm,
and
mm,
valuable. Persons walking
mm,
away with worth. Now, one
mm,
of the things as you share, thank you for answering that, and thank you for your openness to, okay,
mm,
Michelle, maybe that's not something I've done before, but definitely open. Love that.
mm,
Um,
mm,
one of the things I saw as you were sharing there is, yeah, I could be in a conference and give them 10 like steps, nuggets, secrets that it's
mm,
absolutely work if they implement it. The visual that I saw was, and as you walk off the stage, you leave the door open for whoever within the audience would say your speaking cause their Mary, their baby within their bellies to leap.
mm,
And so they'll
mm,
reach out, Marlies, can I work with you on a
mm,
one-to-one level?
mm.
I really look forward to that day when you'll say, Michelle, it happened. The parenting conference is like set and ready to go. I'm looking forward to that. Marlies,
Thank
as we
you.
are about to close it out, I'd love for
Mm,
you to just share with the folks how can they get in touch with you?
okay. Well, the wonderful news is it doesn't have to cost you a thing. You can go to megamomcoaching.com website, and there you can just book a breakthrough call.
Yes.
And that's, I always say, it's like a 60-minute free breakthrough call, but I've had people on there for 3 hours, and that's fine, because the thing is, if you if I can just help you make a difference today,
Ah,
that blesses me immensely. That's why I do what I do.
awesome.
So, and then from there, they get a very clear idea of what is it that I need. Do I need to delve into this much further? Is it just changing my approach? What is it that I really need? So you're going to come out of that call knowing exactly what the best steps forward for you is. And it's not necessarily working with me, and I will tell you that, because if it's simply a question of you just changing your approach to one thing and
Mhm.
see how that goes, then
Yes.
it's that easy.
Yes.
Yes,
Awesome. So you heard it, guys. Megamomcoaching.com, correct?
yes,
Yep. And you book a free consultation, and then you can both work it out from there on if you're a good fit
mm,
and how to move forward. Just
yes.
before we close the curtains, we want to share with you one more buzz of Marlies clients, what they're saying, how their lives have been impacted. Awesome. Marlies, thank you for being here today with us. Thank you for sharing all the nuggets, the wisdoms, the highlights that you were able to just drop on and deliver this afternoon. I'm pretty certain that persons who would have tuned in and catch the replays after would have been blessed. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. It was such a privilege to speak to you today. Thank you. I really appreciate you and I appreciate all you're doing. You really are the win-win coach. I love you to bits. Thank you. Life is better with you in it. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Marlies. Well, folks, you hear it. If you are a parent and in that place where it's just been a struggle, you need not struggle anymore. You hear from what Marlies would have shared. You hear from the buzz of her clients, satisfied, lives transformed. Go ahead, megamomcoaching.com, set that free consultation, reach out and get the help that you need. God bless you until we meet and see each other again next week, same time, same place, right here on the Win Win Live Show, 3 p.m. Go ahead and share, like, follow, and leave some love comments for our dear guest, Marelise Culbert.
No, thank
God
you.
bless you. See you
Thanks
all.
so much.
Bye bye.
Bye.